This wonderful view that glows in the sunshine. Amazing people who always warm my heart. And nonetheless, the best government ever, which does everything for its citizens. That all makes living here a boring great ass, dude. You think your architecture is bad? You haven't been to Eastern Europe. You think your country is falling? Dude, you haven't been to Eastern Europe. Here, we haven't even got up yet. If you're coming from the West, the first thing you'll notice here is the grayness. In Soviets, everything had to be the same. Even buildings shouldn't differ from each other. That was kinda the ideology, to prioritize collectivism over individualism. And unfortunately, this idea still lives in the minds of lots of people here. Yeah, there are some beautiful spots in Eastern Europe too, but in most cases it's because you live in a big city. Because pretty much only big cities get repairs. However, I'd say check out the sleeping areas anyway, because sometimes, yeah. Some countries seem more developed, just look at Poland. But some countries... However, to be honest, the situation has changed in the last 10 years. Even in not very developed countries, there are some new buildings, there is some new architecture, there are some innovations, there are definitely a lot of improvements. And it's not only about architecture and all of that stuff, but also in technologies, healthcare. Eastern Europe doesn't stay in one spot, but it for sure needs less corruption and remove some of this shit. And for you from the West, this is vibes. This is the song, depressing, sad atmosphere. But only notice the smell. The smell of shit, because this is straight up ass, dude. You're really telling me this is where I'd like to live? Not here, not here, not here. Yeah, of course, people needed cheap apartments, and Soviets gave them their flats. But no one gave a fuck about the look of those sleeping areas. Because back then, architects for sure knew how to create something at least interesting. But I guess not when it comes to homes for the regular people. It seems like the government forgot that they themselves built a system where the majority were the working class, and the working class needed those common blocks. And if we use some knowledge from school here, if the majority of citizens are the working class, and you build a shitty looking houses for the working class, that means that most of the buildings in cities look like ass. And that means that the entire cities look like ass. However, if it's something like a hotel or a restaurant, that was just perfectly fine to build it differently and somewhat beautiful. Because maybe some people from the government or some oligarchs could visit those places. So we don't want them to look like shit. They won't visit, God forbid, live in those hoods. So why to build them nice? And for that reason, half of a damn Europe now has these wonders. However, other countries also build their cheap houses, but they understood that in 40-50 years, this will not make their cities look like a shithole. Mentality. And it's not about people who live here. Well, not exactly. You see this and this. Pretty similar, but why they're so different at the same time? The reason is simple. In Europe, I'm talking about the one besides plus Soviets. So, in Europe, people care about general image. For example, in their houses, sometimes you'll see that, oh, there are no baseboards. Or in town, maybe there is a sidewalk that is a bit old. But overall, everything's pretty. In Eastern Europe, dude, we have sidewalks curbs like this, so the entire road could look like this, or the handrail in a hospital like this, and the entire hospital like this. See? Westerns focus on the overall image while Easterns on details, while overall everything's shit. That's pretty much why our cities are so ugly. However, those looks, architecture, beauty, that's all for bitches. Let's talk about real stuff. Why are we broke as shit? That's the simplest thing ever. Because our politicians are fucked so deeply in the ass that they cannot move their arms around properly anymore. The arms moves are limited basically to moving forward to grab the money and backwards to put the money in the pocket. Dude, our countries are not broke by definition. Every single one of post-Soviet nations has something to export and so to make money off. But those money go through the government and pretty much always stay there. But not for long, because you know, the new BMW can buy itself. out. So our kind politicians help us
take
and buy
my
it.
money.
Can't blame them for the generosity. And man, it's not even like no one knows about the stuff the government's doing. Everybody's so aware of the corruption that most of the people just don't give a fuck anymore. Like, oh, they steal all of our money, and that's the main reason why our country is deep in the ass. Okay, happens. So let's talk about people in general. I suppose you've heard about infinitely angry Russians. So, because Eastern Europe countries unfortunately still have some influence from Russia, some straight up degenerates decide to look up to this kind of people. Like for real, man, you have this person to look up to and this person to look up to. How many extra chromosomes you have to decide to look up to this? And unfortunately, the percentage of the cities is pretty high. The closer you get to Russia, the higher it gets. Also, yeah, that's true that there are many conservative people in Eastern Europe, but fortunately the situation is improving every single year. But of course, there are some amazing people in Eastern Europe too. Some of them just choose to be always angry idiots. But is it so vibey to live here? No, dude,